Okay, hello and good day to everyone that is really tuning in here at the Sphere Rocket Podcast Network. Once again, I'm going to be the host for today's episode. My name is Twain, and right now we are joined by another special guest, I would say. And this time, we're going to go a bit off the usual topics that we talk about because from the world of real estate, we're going to dive in more on the world of, yes, healthcare. I guess the best, the better way to explain what kind of business we're be targeting with today's guest. I guess Jenna, welcome to the show, and how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Just to clarify, you're targeting more on the business side of health-related business. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have quite a unique business, I guess. What I mainly do is I help healthcare businesses, private healthcare type businesses. So anything from clinics to online health coaches, anybody really helping people get healthy. I help them optimize their business systems using AI and automation. And so, yes. And so what started as more of a marketing company kind of evolved into a business systems optimization consulting type business. And so that is essentially what I do. And I don't just work with healthcare businesses. I work with really any type of service-based business, but I'm a clinic owner myself, and that's kind of where I started. And I think where I can provide the most value and the most help and counsel because I'm in it running a clinic myself. So,
It's interesting because normally healthcare people are the one that helps people, but you help the people that healthcare that helps people. So that being said, how did you come up with this business? It's quite unique. It's probably the first time I've heard of this.
yeah, it was out of sheer necessity for myself. I needed to solve my own problems. So I started seeking out remedies to those problems. And the problems were that essentially we started the business less than a year before COVID, and COVID just kind of changed the game in terms of how we did business just in general. And like many, we weren't super prepared for that big change. And we realized that all of the like networking that we were doing to generate leads and build for this brick and mortar business, like we couldn't do that anymore. We couldn't go do the presentations in person that we were doing, and like the meet and greets that we were doing to meet people and build the referral network that's necessary to build a clinic. And so then we were like, wow, okay, we need to figure out how to build our presence online now. And this is a kind of a whole different thing. So I started trying to hire marketing companies to assist me with that. And, everything from like, the SEO company, the digital marketing company that runs your ads. I started looking for help everywhere and found that it was actually really hard for a business owner to buy media, to understand, to actually interact with those types of companies. Now, to go a little bit further back, I actually have a 10-year background in working for marketing agencies. So that's why I was like, you know what? I think I understand how to do this. My background's not in digital, but I do understand how to lead teams. I do understand how to build systems and process and everything. So I'm just going to start doing this myself. So I started looking into the tools that the agencies were using, that they were selling to me, wrapped in services, and I started learning about them myself and customizing them myself, and then hiring software developers to help me in that effort. And it's just kind of snowballed into a thing where I know a lot of other business owners, I know a lot of other clinic owners, and it's been like, what do you need help with? Like, let's have an honest conversation. What's really going on? Like, it turned out that every single clinic owner that I've spoken to has not been happy with the marketing that they've been able to find in terms of just purchasing those services. Their lead generation, they're running ads, but I ask them, like, are you successful in that? Like, is that effort really working? And they're all telling me no, but I don't know what else to do, right? So I was having these same problems, so it just sent me down this path of like, okay, well, how can we solve this? And it led me to all of these AI and automation platforms that I now use and teach people about so that they can optimize, save time. And I know Justin likes to use this word leverage, like just have more leverage like the big guys do that I used to work for. And, small business owners just don't have that. So I'm trying to create that for the healthcare space, but also, just for service businesses, like even real estate. There's so much AI and automation that can be done to just optimize so many processes in that sector too. So yeah, it's something that I'm really excited about. I've found it to be very helpful for people. And now I have this amazing addition of virtual assistant teams helping me help other business owners leverage AI and automation. So it's been a really cool path.
So you kind of fell down the rabbit hole, I guess, in which you found other people that fell in that rabbit hole of having the same kind of problems with you. And you kind of built your business around that, which is really awesome. And just to clarify, you were in marketing before and you're handling a clinic right now. So which one went first, or they both at the same time?
How did that happen? I know. Kind of a funny story. So yes, I had about a 10-year career in marketing for, at any given time, like one of the big three automakers, mostly for General Motors and Ford Motor Company. I was working for their marketing companies. I started off as a news reporter in Detroit who decided that I needed to take my skills somewhere else. Got into auto show work for a while, which led me to working for agencies and then producing those auto shows that I used to like travel around and work at. So I worked at these big agencies. I understood process, right? But it was a little bit empty for me. I knew I wanted to do something different. Eventually, I knew I wanted to work for myself, but nothing had really manifested yet to allow me the opportunity to do that. Then my fiance got an opportunity to start a clinic out here in Bellevue, Washington, where we now are. We moved from Colorado, actually. And when he had the opportunity to start his clinic, for personal reasons and other, I was just really interested in the area of medicine that he was practicing. And I was burned out, realizing that he probably needed help launching his clinic. And so I said, hey, I'll help you launch this clinic. Like, I understand marketing concepts. I know how to build teams. I can coordinate all this for you. I was like, I'll just hire marketing companies. I know how to manage them. No big deal. Like, we got this. And so that's how I got into the clinical setting, was helping him. But then it became so much more than what I expected. Like, you get into managing a small business or starting a small business, and I was smacked in the face, with like everything that a business owner really needs to pay attention to and do. And it became very clear early that I was not going to just be like helping manage marketing. There was so much more that needed to be done, including basically building the whole operations system like that the clinic existed on, right? Like internal process, like what happens when a patient wants to schedule a new patient appointment, and then what happens when they want to book a procedure? What forms do they get? What's the, what are the step-by-step, from front end to back end fulfillment process? Didn't realize, but I had to design that whole thing, right? So
is there something you can do, Jenna, like from marketing to managing your clinic, and now you're doing some sort of, I guess, automation, business automation, or programming, I guess, and development. So you're able, I guess your CV is quite a roller coaster to read, and based on how many, I guess, skill sets that you're able to develop. But what's important is that you're able to develop and use all those skill sets that you have before into what you're currently building right now. And
yes.
talking more about now, though, I'm not sure if this is quite a niche market that you're trying to penetrate, especially with the clinical side of things. You said marketing is probably the first problem that you got into why you built a business around it. So how were you able to generate the leads outside of your initial connections? Because for sure, your connections that have the same problem have that. So how were you able to generate more leads based on that?
I started looking at ways to generate leads online that do not involve running ads. Ads have just gotten more and more expensive, and a lot of small businesses just aren't in a place to spend a bunch of money on ads. And a lot of times there's a lot of experimentation that needs to be done. And like, you just have to have a certain amount of budget to be able to go into that. And so I started looking at, okay, what are some like maybe lesser known ways to generate leads? And then maybe some lesser known ways to manage and close those leads that don't involve as much involvement from me as a human. Because, I have been the sales front end, the lead generator, like seeing like, how does all of this work? And so we've set up unique like incentive campaigns using some software that I've come to know well and use to help other clinic owners generate leads. I've also created some chatbots that answer questions, like frequently asked questions that a clinic might be responding to all day long. Maybe a chatbot that actually steps in and answers those questions and then calls in a human when it's time. You wouldn't believe the stats on how lead generation, oftentimes it's not a lead quality issue. Oftentimes it's a how fast did you respond to the lead issue. So we realized that solving that problem was actually first and foremost is just getting people a clear and quick response. In this day and age, everybody kind of expects it. And we've also found that they don't really mind if they're talking to a robot or if they know that they're talking to an AI, as long as they're being treated with compassion and their problem is being promptly solved, they don't really care. And so that actually leads to stronger sales closing when you are generating leads for, any way that you generate leads. And so the other way that we've really been able to generate leads without running ads is making sure all of the basic business systems online are optimized, right? Is your Google My Business profile optimized? Are you able to take in like leads and chats from multiple places? Because people have different modes of communication and learning. So some people might want to communicate by text. Some people might want to communicate by email. Some people might want to talk to somebody on the phone. Somebody might want to watch a video and like in the privacy of their own home, right? So we've realized that being able to create all of these different channels and be like quick and responsive and accurate on all of these, that is sort of the alternative way to, when you normally you think, okay, I have to do some marketing. Okay, and maybe I'm going to run some ads, or maybe I'm going to, beef up my SEO. Well, that's part of it. And we've definitely done that. But all of these other methods I've found are actually more helpful in setting up the foundation for the business owner than really anything else. And then you can start looking at, more traditional means, advertisements, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've been nodding my head for a while right now because I agree. Especially in AI chatbots, I can't even tell if they're human or AI. It's hard to tell because they've become more human-like. Say when I was replying, no way, this is a chatbot. This is definitely human, but turns out it's a human. So you need to also fix that. And I guess you kind of figured out the perfect or close to perfect formula in order to include that. And it also makes sense in what you mentioned. Some people don't want to go and call, email. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to make a call to ask my question, but the only thing that matters is you wanted to get the answer as fast as you can. So it's good that you open all those streams. I'm getting some business ideas now. So now I'm kidding. I'm not taking your business idea, but it is a cool concept, Jana. So that being said, it's not just medical professions that you can penetrate, the businesses that you can penetrate, as you mentioned. And it's a lot. Actually, I can see this business. You need a lot of manpower for this, or are you a one-woman army? And you've mentioned you've had your virtual assistant. So at which point in your business did you decide that, okay, I need more than just me to do all of this kind of work?
Yeah, it's actually, my journey with VAs has been interesting. It was a few years ago that I started working with virtual assistants. And I started, I think like many others, where I kind of went to, maybe I can find somebody on Fiverr, tried hiring independently, realized that was really not reliable, hired an agency that they were just structured in a way that I could not rely on them to meet deadlines for my clients, right? So then I went into, okay, I'm just going to hire somebody because I need help. I'm growing too fast. I can't one-man band it anymore. So then I looked at hiring one of my friends that I used to work with, or colleagues that I used to work with in a past agency setting. And if I'm being super honest, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to hire a US-based employee at the time. This was a few years ago. But I made an offer because I knew like I needed a reliable counterpart. I needed to start growing a team, and I did not know how else to do it because I had already kind of been down the road of like virtual assistants. I just can't quite find the right fit, and I can't rely on this. So, and then I tried one more time because it was good fate, I think, that she actually got a counter offer, and I was like, okay, I guess I have to go back down the path path of finding virtual assistants again. And so then I hired another agency, found a whole new set of problems with that agency, just real quick, from everything from the way they recruited to the quality of VAs, the skill level of the VAs that I got, me not being able to pick who my VA was going to be, the platform that they made us use, to monitor our VA, like everything it just wasn't jiving with me. And then on top of that, we had a bad experience with our VA, like literally sleeping on the job. Just, we didn't understand, we just didn't understand how to manage how it should look until I was introduced to Sphere Rocket through another like business coaching program I was in. And it was right at the perfect time where I had been working with this other VA agency. They were doing an okay job, but they weren't meeting deadlines. I really didn't feel like I could rely on them. And I was able to meet with Sphere Rocket and realize how differently they did things. Now I have been able to grow like where I literally could not have grown before, because I've been able to hire just on my team 4 really smart, capable individuals. And it's just like such a win-win situation, the way that Sphere Rocket does things. I fully trust who their vetting process. I fully trust who they bring into my interviews for me. And it's also been a great thing because now I refer all of my clients to them, because I know it's like, once again, I'm having the same issues that I'm solving for my clients. This has solved one of my major problems, both in my clinical setting and in my agency, which is like crazy to me. And I just, I love like opening people's minds to the idea of hiring a virtual assistant team, especially when, like, I'm somebody who has definitely experienced the barriers and like had some bad experiences hiring virtual assistants, maybe to the point where had I not been introduced by somebody that I trusted to you guys and, thought that, okay, maybe I should give them a try, I probably would have just like written off the whole thing. And that would have been sad because, I wouldn't have been able to experience all of this growth and like share that with all the other business owners that I'm working with now.
I guess a lot of your life depends on in fate, basically, how you got into this industry, how you're able to connect with the right people to get you the right people in the business. And definitely that's one of the perks of Sphere Rocket, I guess. We help you out in getting the best kind of virtual assistant that's perfect, catered perfectly to what you need. So we filter them out, we train them, and of course we also train the business owners, because a lot of the clients are just going to be new to virtual assistants. They have a lot of misconceptions. They have a lot of doubts, that's for sure. And that's one of their ways to make sure to open up that barrier, that there's more to virtual assistant than just, sending emails or just fixing your database. They can be utilized in a lot more ways. And Jenna, in your case, how were you able to utilize your VAs?
Well, so in my business, they are so helpful in, I need additional brains that are helping think for my clients the way that I am. And so they provide that. So they help me problem solve for my clients. They keep themselves educated on the latest like tools and softwares that I'm using, so that they can help build custom products, custom experiences for my clients. And then in the clinical setting, I mean, we've been absolutely shocked at the possibilities that we literally never thought of before, ways that they can help in a clinical setting. So I'll just name off a few. English speaking skills are just really not usually a barrier. So I just want to get that out of the way, because I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is like, oh, they're in another country, maybe they're in another time zone. Is there going to be a language barrier? I haven't found that to be the case. So much so that if you find the right person with the right experience, they might even be able to be your front desk, right? They might even be able to manage the phones for you. I have some clinics that are utilizing virtual assistants to do their medical billing, to make phone calls for pre-authorizations, for insurance billing purposes to the insurance companies. Like, there's a lot of sometimes waiting on hold in that role. And so they're able to utilize VAs for that. versus pulling their front desk team, and managing chart notes, helping with marketing, right? So like a lot of times I will help a clinic train VAs to essentially like run their CRM and their marketing for them. So there's just like so many different applications, and oftentimes clinic owners will ask me like, "Hey, can a VA do this?" And it's almost always the answer is like, "Yeah, if they can do it remotely, yes, like a VA can probably do it. We can Sphere can probably find you an appropriate, like highly skilled person to do the job very, very well." And suddenly you have some leverage, and we can train them to interact with your US based team. It works beautifully. And so clinics of all sizes can really benefit from it, whether it's like I know the one-man band clinic where it's like they don't have an admin, they don't have any help, they do literally everything themselves. This is like the perfect solution for somebody like that. I really don't think that anybody should really truly be one-man banding it. You're limiting your growth in that way. But also, like, we have huge clinics that have like multiple providers, multiple admin staff, and then we kind of fortify their US based team with a few extra VAs that can come in and do some heavy lifting. And it's great. Like the possibilities are kind of endless, but those are just a few ways that we're using them in the clinical setting.
I guess for a lot of people, the reason when they're not hiring an assistant or a virtual assistant is they're thinking that I can do it myself probably better because I know the business more than myself. But I think the value that virtual assistants add is time. So one thing that you can do for like, I don't know, 2-3 hours a day. You can do, I don't know, social media management, video editing for 2-3 hours a day. If you pile it up in 1 year, imagine how much time it will take away from you instead of growing your business or just having more time for yourself. And I guess, Jenna, in your experience, at which point in hiring a virtual assistant did you saw the difference? Because I think you have more than one virtual assistant. So that means that you definitely had a very successful experience with us at Sphere Rocket and your virtual assistant. So at which point your virtual VA experience did you notice all the difference?
I mean, for me, it was right away, because I suddenly had like a reliable, trusted person that I could bounce things off of, and that had the skill set for me to trust what I was bouncing off of them. So and also just like the workload, like the little tasks that I should not have been doing anymore, and that I'm constantly reminding other business owners that I know, like, you should not be doing that task anymore. I know, like, I used to be a workaholic. I used to pride myself on, like, I'll just grind more. I'll work more hours. I can do that. Oh, and having the sort of I have to say it's a little bit of ego thinking that like I'm the only one who can do this, right? And it's so not true. It's so not true. What I would say to other business owners is like, as soon as you can like be okay with like, hey, it would actually help me grow and give me what I like set out for when I started this business, if I were able to unload some of these tasks to somebody else. But a lot of times it comes down to a matter of trust and budget. And people they worry that they're going to be bad managers. That's another thing that I encounter. They're like, I don't know how to manage people. Like, I just don't think that I can handle managing somebody else or training somebody else. So I think I'll just keep doing everything myself. That's a bad move. It's definitely like a limiting mindset. And when an entity like Sphere Rocket can come in and be like, hey, I can actually help you with all of the things that you were fearful about when hiring somebody, then like it removes a lot of barriers for me, and it actually like allowed me to get to that growth point that I was hoping for very, very quickly. I mean, I was able to, when I hired my first VA, it was so helpful that I was then able to, I think I hired all 4 of my team members like in a 3-month span. It was like, just because as soon as I had more help, I was able to then serve more clients, do more, all while getting my time back. And I'm like, woohoo, and I'm not working all weekend anymore. This is amazing. Like this is the first time in years that I'm not literally working my entire weekend, because, running two businesses, obviously you have to dedicate more than 40 hours a week to that. But now I have the leverage of additional people helping me. And it's been amazing. It's allowed me to grow the way that I have. I would not literally have not been able to grow otherwise.
So less stress and of course more growth for the company by hiring more people. And going back to your businesses, I guess, can you tell us what was the name of your businesses if you have an official business name for them?
Oh, yeah. So my business is called Evolve Systems. My Instagram handle is Evolve Systems AI. And yeah, as much as I am into, chatbots and automation and everything, like if you DM me, it'll be me responding. So yeah, I welcome, if there's any business owners that are resonating with what I am saying, particularly in the healthcare space, and you just kind of want to pick my brain more about your experience with hiring VAs, that sort of thing. I would love to talk. So like send me a DM. That's where I'll be.
Okay, so what specific kind of businesses or target market are you actually, wanting to have to be to provide your services with, if I may ask?
Probably like more clinics, more healthcare businesses. More specifically, I work with those who are trying to get the message of real health out there, which is difficult. And there's a lot of things going on in the background in that kind of clinical setting, that I can be helpful with, including, um, you know, looking at your back end systems. Are you optimizing literally your operations, like the way that you do things? Are there things that you could be automating in your day to day clinical practice? And especially when it comes to your marketing and just kind of like front end communications and closing leads. So I can build out a custom CRM that's like AI infused. That's kind of like an all-in-one system for them. I can also build custom chatbots that can perform a variety of activities, everything from talking to customers for you and answering questions about your business, booking appointments for you, to helping maybe like train your internal team. Like I'm building a chatbot right now for a clinic that will help the team, basically, instead of like bothering the doctor all the time about common questions while they're training. Um, they can just ask the chatbot, and the chatbot knows the answers. And it's all based on like their internal process, how they do things. So it's highly customized.
Yeah, and that is just one of the many things that you can provide. Her company can provide. So I guess you can do assessments to any companies, and you'll see what you can
That
improve and
is
automate.
correct. That's usually
Mhm.
how we start. Yeah, we usually start with an audit and see where we're starting from, and go from there. So
So yeah, if you want to try out, I guess the best way is to contact you. You mentioned it earlier, but a phone numbers, website again, if you can mention it.
yeah, you can also go to evolvesystems.ai. Evolvesystems.ai. That's my main website. Or send me a DM on Instagram at evolvesystemsai.
And I guess that being said, we're just come to the last part of the podcast. And going back to all of your experiences, you've been to many industries. And I think, and I know based on the conversation that we have in this podcast, that you're really passionate about what you're doing right now. I mean, you first told me that you weren't feeling it in the first career path that you've had. And now I think you found yourself in the right place. So this has to be more than just the money. That's why you're working, because you've switched to different career paths, and I'm sure you're making a lot of money, if not just some money from your past career paths. So beyond the money, why do you keep on doing what you're doing, continuously evolving and growing your business?
So thank you. That's a great question. So at first it was that I've had some personal health issues that have been solved by the good doctors that I've been able to meet through my fiance. And in getting to know their businesses more and getting to know like what it took to build our business, um, I became passionate about helping the helpers. I see like how much more I can do by helping the practitioners, helping those that are out like professing health to other people versus like, in a clinical setting, I see it's one patient at a time, and that's wonderful. But I've just really enjoyed. I've just found that like business owners who are like working hard to put something into the world that is difficult, like getting people to get on top of their health when band-aid fixes are everywhere. Like that's a tough job to begin with. And I just really want to help them in that, because if I hadn't been connected to the like the information, the services that I have been connected to, like I said, through my fiance, and just like meeting all these doctors that are like similarly aligned, I would I would I would be in a much different place today. Like all this high performing that I'm doing would not be happening because my health would not be there. So like I'll just leave it at that. I feel like I owe a lot to the health community, and I know what they risk by building the businesses that they do and the sacrifices that they make, because all of these people, they could just be working for the hospital, they could just be like working for the system, as I call it, but they're not. They have a message to bring to the world, and I want to be a part of that in some way. So it's just a lot more fulfilling to me than like I liked cars. I really did. I liked working in automotive, but there wasn't that like why behind it. Like at the end of the day, I was just selling cars. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I guess that definitely your heart coming from a place and making the world a better place by helping the helpers, as you mentioned, because if automating their process makes their lives easier and makes them have more time to help more people, it really makes a big impact. Like instead of them catering to one patient at a time, they can do it a lot faster, maybe two at a time. So this kind of business idea that we have definitely makes a huge impact, and not just in the healthcare industry, but I guess in the world, because everybody needs that health care in any way. So Jenna,
Yep.
it has been an amazing episode with you. And of course, before we end this, if you would like to promote anyone, give a shout out to anyone, please do so now.
Well, I think I just want to shout out to my amazing VA team. So Kath, Miko, Glacial, and Aaron, thank you guys for being such an awesome support to me and helping me grow my business for just what we've been talking about. So we can help the helpers. It's been amazing. So thank you guys.
Okay, thank you as well. And I guess that being said, it has been an amazing episode. And for all the listeners, hopefully you've learned a lot, like me, and for today's podcast. So we'll see you again in the next episode at the Sphere Rocket Podcast Network. Goodbye, everyone.